Alright, welcome everybody. It's got Brian Perry here and Don Latford, High Sun Motors Technical Support Department. What we're going to do is show you how to remove the clutch, the front primary clutch, check to make sure that the rollers are good, and also make sure there's not too much grease in it, and then re-grease it and clean it up. We've got the motor pulled out for better accessibility. You'll definitely need to remove the fuel tank and the seats from your YS400, or excuse me, your HS400. Alright, we've got all the bolts removed around from the outside. You'll notice that there is two further out. Those will be the shorter bolts. Two short bolts are going to go back into the centers here. So you can tell there's not much difference, but there is a difference. The longer ones go around the outside, the shorter ones go to the middle. With that removed, you can expose your clutch component. And that's what it looks like. You're going to have 4 bolts to remove to get the clutch housing off. You'll see it's got guide pins, and then they mount up into the back side as well. When you got that out, there is a bearing and a seal inside here. Most people don't check that bearing. It's what keeps this shaft true. You may need to replace that bearing in there as well with that seal. Alright, we're going to have to take this nut off with that clutch. The easiest way to do that is with an impact. It's off. Alright, after you get that nut loose, well, then you're going to pull the pulley off. You might have to shock it with a dead blow hammer right here, but that's what you're going to need to do. You're going to have to do it. This is the component that we're going to look at to clean. We're going to remove these 3 screws and pull it apart, and we'll see what's inside. Alright, the cover plate off. You can slide your other plate off, make sure that your grommets are in place, and then you got your rollers inside. See the buildup of grease here. It's a 1/4 inch of grease right there, and if you notice that, there's really not a lot on the rollers themselves or in the track. You want that grease to be in the track like so that roller can roll, but you don't want a large amount of grease in there. You want a thin coat of grease on everything that you can see in there on those tracks. On the rollers, the easiest way to check to see if your rollers are bad is on a flat surface, put it on your finger and roll it. If it rolls, well, once it's clean, you want to just feel it and make sure there's no flat spots in the clutch roller itself. This is the weight. And check each one of them. Alright guys, we got it pretty much cleaned back up. We're going to put it back together. Obviously you're going to drop it and make sure your rubber guides are in place on the shaft pins. Alright, got your plate lined back up. You're going to make sure that it's lined up for your screws. Get them started finger tight, and get them started with your finger first. Alright, and that has your clutch together. Once again, you may, more than likely you're probably going to have to use a dead blow hammer to hit down on here while holding on this plate, or holding it this way and hitting down on this plate to get it to come apart. Sometimes they don't just fall apart, so you might have to use some leverage or some dead blow hammers. Alright, we're going to put it back on the unit now. Alright, we got that front clutch on, what you'll more than likely need to do is on your back pull, you'll notice you got 2 holes. You'll need to get a 5mm screw and run it in there. You'll need to get 2 of them. Put one in on both sides. You're going to run them in together. What that's going to do is spread your plate. That way your belt will ride up and then you can mount it up better. So after you've got that on, you want to make sure that you can see the grooves of this plate equal with the spline before you run the nut on. If you don't, there's a good possibility you're not lined up good. Alright, put your washer on and then run your nut down. Once again, you want to get it started with your hand. You don't want to run it up there with the impact. Once again, you only want about 40 pounds of pressure on your impact. You don't need much more than that. It's back on. And then remove your 2 screws and your belt will ride back in position where it needs to be. You want to roll it backwards. Make sure you can roll it backwards. That's that one-way bearing working. If you can't roll it backwards, your one-way bearing may be kinked or out of whack, so you want to make sure it's lined up. It won't roll forward without turning the motor, but it will roll backwards. We're going to once again line up these dowels with the holes in the back of the case. And make sure they're set in position first. And you want to line up just like that. Line it up for you perfect. That should have you done. All you got to do now is put your cover back on and put your last screws in. Remember the short screws go in here. I'll button that up real quick. Once again, you're going to go around, snug them all up. On this, you put the first 2 in first on the center. That'll kind of line you up. That way you're not fighting it. The cover and the back plate are a tongue and groove fit. There's no rubber gasket that goes between those 2. So snug it back up. Should be good to go. Okay, once again, that was how you remove the clutch from the 400. Be sure and look us up on the web, highsunmotors.com. Once again, we want to thank you from High Sun Motors USA.